Good morning, everyone. Excuse me, I have a tickle in my throat. I wanted to go over the user interface assignment that is due on December 9th. So I have the instructions pulled up here for all of you. I think the first thing would be just to read through the instructions, and then if you scroll way down, there is a diabetic patient case, and the patient's name or initials are AB. And so you want to definitely read through this report and gain an understanding of the patient's condition and what they're going through. So after you do that, the first thing that you need to do is provide a summary of the health information that would be beneficial for the patient to monitor and track in order to stay on top of their diabetes and the issues surrounding that condition. You may want to do a little research on diabetes and the information that would be the most useful to a patient with this condition. Some of you, this will probably come easier than others, just in the fact that you maybe have this condition and or have a close family member that is struggling with it as well. So do some research, find out what would be the most useful information to somebody with diabetes, and then provide a written description of your proposed solution. Now, your solution is going to be kind of a, well, let me back up. I don't want you to get hung up on the words user interface. I'd rather have you think of it as a patient portal, okay? So really what you're developing here is a prototype of a patient portal. And I'm going to give you some examples, so I don't want it to kind of scare you right at this moment. So the first thing you should probably do after you kind of research is kind of think about what you want this to look like and the type of information that you want it to track and store. So after you do your research, I want you to provide a written description of the proposed solution. So you want to cover, maybe just provide an overview of the solution, a description of how the solution would operate and practice while incorporating what you have learned about the usability. Is that solution going to be a something that the patient can access, via their computer, or is it a mobile app, or, how will you, how will it operate, right? And then maybe consider also the interfacing or the kind of data dump back into, say, the primary care physician's EHR or their portal, or however you want that to work. So, and then also provide an explanation of the data that would be collected and are presented to users of the proposed solution, okay? Then you're going to, this is where the prototype comes in. I want you to develop a visual image of the solution. So you can use MS Word, or you don't have to use MS Word. You can use PowerPoint. You can use really whatever tool you want. Again, the only caveat for your snapshot or your visual image of the solution is that you provide, or that you make it so everybody can view it. So if you're using an application that maybe isn't as universal, make sure you put it in PDF, okay? I do not want you to go out and provide me screenshots of other portals that have already been developed. This is something I want you to really think about, and I want you to develop on your own, okay? In the past, I've had students do that, and I will deduct points for that. I don't want you to simply copy and paste from somebody else's work, okay? So let me show you a couple examples of visual images of what other students or their snapshots have, what they've created. Now, I want to also preface this with that these are not perfect, okay? So I don't want you to just simply, copy what they've done. I want you to really do your own research and think about what you want this patient portal to look like and the data that you want it to capture, okay? All right, so let me see if I can pull up, do this first one. So here's an example of one that a student created. I'm not going to kind of elaborate a lot on this. I'm just going to leave it here for a few seconds so that you can take a look. And if you want, you can definitely pause the recording at this moment. All right, I'm going to show you the next one. Please ignore the picture that was selected. It's kind of funny. And so here's just another example of a very simple prototype that was developed by another student. And I hope that you can see that, you know, where some of the, like in this case, they use green. You know, these are areas that a patient could click on to enter information and things. So just keep that in mind, like maybe to highlight areas that are clickable or are, you know, hyperlinks to take the patient to other areas and things like that as you develop your prototype. Okay. All right, so here, those are the two examples I wanted to share. All right, so after you kind of have your prototype, I want you to do a reflection, okay? And think about and address how that that solution or the prototype that you developed will kind of play into the triple aim. Think about health literacy. How can a patient portal improve health literacy? This is a really interesting topic, and if you haven't explored health literacy before, I find it fascinating that, you know, we have a jargon in healthcare that is really hard for a lot of individuals and the average person to understand. And so definitely do a little bit of research on health literacy and maybe how this portal could help improve health literacy. Also consider patient engagement and how the patient portal could improve patient engagement. So when I say patient engagement, it's patient engagement in their own healthcare, right? Some patients, it's hard to get them on board, especially when they're having to monitor so many things with a condition like diabetes, right? And kind of to understand the importance of the monitoring, okay? And then lastly, personalized medicine. How can a patient portal help shift healthcare from reaction to prevention, right? I think the diabetes numbers continue to go up in the US. And so instead of being more reactive, how can we get patients and individuals to start looking at preventing diabetes from happening in the first place, right? Okay, lastly, the fifth part of this assignment is I would like you to have a conversation with another person, right? So it could be a friend, a coworker, a family member, and I want you to share your portal, your prototype with them, and I want you to kind of gather their feedback and their reaction to your proposed solution, right? So ask them, you know, what they would suggest to improve it, what challenges do they see, and then of course any positive feedback that they might have on your portal. Okay, so I hope this has been helpful. I'm looking for a maximum of 5 pages, so try to document this information in a clear and concise manner. Remember to always cite your sources. One thing that I noticed grading some things over, you know, the last couple of days is that many of you might cite a source on a reference page, but there is no in-text citation corresponding to that reference page citation. It's really important that anytime you have a reference page citation, you also have an in-text citation corresponding to that. If you don't, then don't put it on the reference page, okay? And vice versa. If you have an in-text citation, I want to see a reference page citation for that, okay? So it needs to be one-to-one there. There needs to be a match, okay? And the other thing is try not to make just blanket statements. You know, I can talk about how, you know, diabetes is increasing in the US, but if I don't have a citation or a reference to support that, you know, you want proof is what I'm saying. You want proof to show what you're saying is accurate, okay? So don't just try to make statements. And I think you're gonna find that as you move through this program. We are looking for you to do research and to back up what you're saying with research, okay? So keep that in mind as you move through this assignment. And if you have any questions, of course, don't hesitate to ask. And Yeah, so have a great weekend and stay in touch.